Alright y'all, I have my boyfriend Ray here. The first time he's on my channel, so I wanted to bring him on just so that we could have another perspective on how to find your dream guy, because I feel like a lot of times, you know, women give great advice. However, he says this thing is really good.
So I can't remember where I got this from, but like, you want to learn how to catch fish from a fisherman.
Okay.
Not from a fish. So you don't ask a woman for advice on how to get a man. You have to ask the man how to get them, basically.
Yeah, or you can't.
Is the idea.
Okay, cool. So we're gonna ask the fisherman, right?
I mean, sure, yeah,
We're
exactly.
gonna ask the fisherman today, just to give like some credibility and context to our relationship. How can you describe our relationship?
I would describe our relationship as like easy flowing.
Yeah.
No friction. If there's a problem, we just fix it. And I would say it's really just like we click. The ease of the relationship comes from just being compatible.
Because we're just compatible. Like,
yeah.
We're good friends.
Yeah.
So.
When it comes to like astrology, it has nothing to do with Cancer or like Sagittarius or whatever. It's more about like Chinese zodiac seems to be a little bit more accurate. Me being born in like a monkey year and you being born in like a rat year. Monkey and rats are friends, and so like we have an affinity towards being more compatible. Whereas if like each sign has its own enemy, for example, the enemy of the monkey is the tiger. I probably wouldn't do so good dating a woman who was born in a tiger year, for example, right?
Yeah.
That's how that works. Basically like an accumulation of just like learning from all the exes and all that stuff and knowing what to do. As a guy, at least, you don't really learn how to be in a proper relationship unless you've been in relationships. Now, sure, there's people that like get it on the first try or whatever, but as a guy, like you have to date and you have to learn from your lessons that each relationship and each of those lessons is a reason why the relationship failed, which means as long as you learn that lesson, you can take that into your next relationship, and that's how you take the good things into the next relationship.
I guess, can you describe your mindset on what it means to be a man in a healthy relationship? Because I think a lot of women nowadays, they feel like it's kind of hard to find the right guy or like a traditional man.
Yeah, sure.
Can you touch on like your mindset on what that looks like and what you embody as a man in the relationship?
Traditions, the reason traditions exist is because they work. Take it back to tradition. Traditional man, right? What does that mean?
Look like?
So for me, at least from what I've learned, is provider, protector, and that's basically it. That's really like the essence of it. You need to be able to provide, pay all the bills, which means buy things that your girlfriend needs, buy things that your wife needs, so on and so forth, right? Like do those things, provide the money. That's what it means to be a provider. Like this whole 50-50 relationship stuff, absolute BS. It does not work, because if a guy provides for everything, then that means that it allows the woman to be fully feminine, because providing is a male trait. Yeah. You can't be a provider and then expect your girlfriend or your wife to like provide as well. Yeah. Like if she wants to pay for things out of the kindness of her own heart, that's fantastic. But that's not a requirement of the feminine in the relationship. So like provide and protect, right? So what does that mean in like basic terms, right? It means you have to be well off, wealthy, rich. You have to have money. You have to be able to generate money as a man. That is how you provide. Yeah. The way you protect is by walking on the street side of the sidewalk, shielding your girlfriend if there's like any like harm or anything like that. Oh, surprise guess.
It's okay.
Surprise guess. As a guy, you have to make money. There's no other way around it. Yeah. You can work a W-2 job, W-4 job. That's fine. Whatever that entails. You can work a commission job. You can whatever. You have to have the drive to make money. In a world of participation trophies, guys just not being competitive and just not going after it health-wise and money-wise. Yeah. In that world, the guy will always lose and they will never get chosen.
So I guess what advice would you have for guys in that sense who want to find, you know, a traditional woman, or what do you wish like more men would know?
100%. That's a great question. I would say part of it is mostly spiritual. You cannot give away what you don't have, and you cannot demand what you're not deserving of. Okay. So what does that mean? So in order to find a traditional woman, you have to be a traditional man. If I can do those things, if I'm getting my ass in the gym, I'm becoming healthy and doing all of these things, not that entitles the man to a traditional woman, but it aligns himself with the energy to be able to attract it first.
That makes sense.
So not be a fuckboy and demand a traditional woman. The universe will not grant you this. Yeah. But the thing is, the universe is also incredibly giving if you're deserving of it. If you've meditated on this as a guy and you made the decision that like, I want to be a protector and a provider, and that's kind of like the switch that I made. Like, you make a pact with yourself as a man. I'm going to become this and this because I want this and this in a woman. And you start achieving the things on that journey, the universe will give you that woman.
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as making a Hinge profile, and then all of a sudden you find a traditional woman or whatever.
Yeah.
Or it could be you just meet them in a Whole Foods or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, the universe is going to be giving to you if you are representing the things that you want. You will get what you deserve.
Period.
But you always get what you need until you get what you deserve.
That's a good one.
And the way that manifests, you'll get into a relationship. She'll be great for, who knows, however long.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden she becomes super impatient or whatever, and the relationship breaks off. And it's the heartbreak that you learn from, and you get to the next thing. It makes your vision clear of what you actually want. So every time you get out of a relationship, it benefits men in the sense that you figure out what you don't want and what you want more. It unfortunately is a disadvantage for women in the sense that the more relationship a woman has, the more spread her energy is across multiple guys. And so that, like, if you've been in 10, 20 relationships as a woman and you get out of them, there's something for the woman to learn as well. If you have 10 failed relationships, there's a reason why a man's path is forged in fire. You become a man. You're a boy first, you become a man. And a woman's path or a woman's energy is preserved. Too many experiences for a woman is actually damaging.
You say the more partners a woman has, that's what you mean by it's kind of damaging.
Yes, absolutely. No, absolutely. To be absolutely completely honest, 100%. Having too many partners for a woman is damaging because a woman's subconscious is not built for trauma. It is built to be preserved so that the woman's energy can multiply what the man gives, right?
Yeah.
Like, our relationship, for example. If I give you money to go grocery shopping, you'll come back with ingredients and you'll make an amazing breakfast. You give a woman ingredients, she'll make a meal. You give a woman a house, she'll make a home. It's like women are multiplying through her feminine energy.
Yeah.
And that gets eroded after having too many partners. And that's just the simple truth. This whole like feminine like BS that's shoved down all women's throats because that's what the algorithm is feeding to the women. It's absolutely damaging to their psyche. You cannot have you cannot have more than like 20, 30 partners and expect to have a traditional relationship. That it's not how that, but heartbreak is good for men and women in the sense that as long as you learn from the heartbreak, it gives it meaning, therefore that chapter closes. The biggest thing is like being completely honest with yourself. And saying things like, what am I at fault at?
Yeah.
Whether you're the man or the woman, what could I have done different? What did I do? Most people don't do that. So they just end up hopping from relationship to relationship. I'm gonna love myself and I don't need no man. And you know, like you start saying all this bullshit that...
Start slipping around.
Yeah, exactly. The more you say this negative shit about men and women or whatever, the more ingrained it becomes, and the more in your reality it will show.
I want to be inclusive to, I guess, all types of people. If you're watching this and you have relatively a high body count as a woman, what advice, I mean, I think you kind of said it, but would you say that, I think what I would say to that person is, you know, like, accept, like, the, you know, where you're at, because I can kind of speak on that. I don't exactly have the smallest body count, but at the same time, I took the time to be celibate for a long time before meeting him. And what would you say to women so that, you know, you can't be too late for these women, can it? You know, maybe they were just stuck in the hypnotic rhythm of doing what the world told them, but they don't actually want. Yeah, what would you say to women?
It's never too late until it is too late. I know that's like such a cop-out answer. There's and you said this actually, there's a book called Outwitting the Devil.
Oh yeah.
And it talks about hypnotic rhythm.
Yeah.
And hypnotic rhythm is a great way to put it. It is too late for the men and women who are stuck in hypnotic rhythm.
Yeah.
What that means is you've had 20, 30, 40, 50 partners, 20, 40, 30 relationships, and it's not getting any better.
Yeah.
Right? You're just hopping from relationship to relationship. It's not work. For the most part, it's never too late.
Yeah.
The thing is, the first thing that needs to start is you have to stop the bleeding. Stop sleeping around.
Yeah.
Stop giving your energy
to everyone
that is not deserving of it. Stop
That's good advice.
exercising the actions that you know are bad, and you know they're bad.
It feels wrong.
It feels wrong. Women are way more in touch with their feelings, so therefore things that feel wrong, that don't necessarily feel right, you'll know that right away. Guys have more of like a logical way to look at it, where it's just like, that's not good, this is good, I choose good, right?
Yeah.
But like for women, it's like, how does this feel? Like, does it feel wrong? If it feels wrong, stop that shit immediately.
I'm trying to help women like actually have concrete steps. So I feel like, you know, we already covered the basis of like there are good guys out there, the dating apps. I think the question is like, once these women feel safe to be on these apps, how do they find a guy like you? Or what is it, what they put on their profile? What do they look out for? What red flags do they look out for on the profiles to avoid the bullshit? And what advice do you have for women logistically on these apps?
100%. I appreciate you asking or saying like a guy like me. Just out of curiosity, like, how would you describe a guy like me?
How do I describe a guy
It's
like
good to
you?
define for,
Yeah,
you know.
You're a man of your word. So
That's
it's
huge.
hard to know
That's
that on the
huge.
apps, but
Yes.
you can kind of get an inkling.
Yeah.
I think for me, I kind of had a hint with like maybe you didn't put your occupation, but I feel like as a woman, maybe you can kind of tell like if a man's occupation is like a little higher in the leadership board, maybe that has something to say about their work ethic or being a man of their word, you know. But I think that's how I describe you. Someone that, again, these are hard to tell in the apps, but I obviously feel safe with you, like you're loving and all those things. But yeah, I guess protector, provider, those are the words that keep on coming up. But
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. And before I answer that question, as a guy, you have to stick to your word. Your word needs to mean iron as a man. If you are a man and your word means iron, you are deserving of everything that you are deserving of. Like, you need to, if words leave your mouth as a man, and you mean it and you do it, you have to do it.
yeah,
So that if you say whatever you say as a man, you have to do it.
okay,
If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. There's no other way around it. If you say you're going to do something, you have to do it. Because the second you don't, you become a liar to yourself. And then eventually, after enough lying to yourself, you lie to other people. That's how that works, right? Because you cannot give away what you don't have. If
Okay.
all you have is lying and being a liar, that's what you're going to give away, lies,
True.
right? So you have to be a man of your word. If shit leaves your mouth, you have to do it.
Period.
Number one.
Yeah.
But
How do I
your
find a guy
question
like
was,
you?
how do you find a guy like me? Ironically, like, guys like me are available everywhere. You know what I'm saying? It's just
okay.
like they're invisible to the women not deserving of them.
And I guess the women that can't see it too.
Yeah, it's difficult for women to see based on their mindset. So
Yeah.
the first thing that needs to happen is for a woman to be critically decisive about what she wants.
Okay.
Right?
I did say that.
Because if you're a woman and you want a fuckboy, you'll get a fuckboy. You'll get plenty of fuckboys. There's no shortage of them.
Yeah.
Right? But that being said, based on how you describe me, to find a guy like me, 100%, like, the job thing is a great indicator of leadership and what it means to be competent. Because I guess not the cooler somebody's job is, but the more demanding a guy's job is, it requires masculine traits, very masculine traits, disagreeableness, getting things done, going A to B, like, you know, like being a man of your word, all these things, they play part into the job that somebody has, right?
Yeah.
A person working at McDonald's has vastly different mindsets and ideas than a guy that is like a senior sales manager at a BMW store, right?
Yeah.
For example. It tells part of the story, but not all of it. But the first thing that I would definitely advise is like for women to be very decisive about what they actually want. If you look in the mirror and you say to yourself, I want this and this kind of man, whatever it is. Could be a fuckboy, could be a high-performing, high-valuable, like, man, right? Which is what 99% of women want anyway.
Yeah.
The next step to that is to ask yourself, what would need to be true in order for me to attract this man, right?
That's good.
Because by asking how, you get the answers, right? So what would need to be true in order for me to get a traditional man that's protector and provider? After doing some research, whether you want to ask ChatGPT, because ChatGPT's got some really good answers, or you ask, ideally, like another guy, basically. That's because you ask a fisherman how to fish, not the fish how to be fished. Because the fish is going to give you the wrong answers because they don't want to be caught. you need to do is find the answers to what would need to be true in order for me to have this, right? What would need to be true in order, if I was a woman and I looked in the mirror and I looked at myself, I was like, what would need to be true in order for me to have the man of my dreams, whatever that would be? And you kind of find similar answers. It may differ a little bit from guy to guy, but in general, what would need to be true as a woman is you need to make the guy's life easier, number one. So pack for him, cook for him, clean the house for him. Like these are super traditional things, right? But they work.
Yeah.
That's why they're a tradition.
Right.
Right?
I agree.
So you would need to, like, a guy will never leave you if you make his life easier. That's a simple rule of thumb, right? If you make his life easier, what else can you do? Well, you can be very feminine and loving. That's the biggest thing, because no guy wants to date another dude who's like disagreeable and like, you know, manly. Like that's my favorite part about you, is the fact that you're not a dude. You know what I'm saying? You're very feminine. So therefore it allows me to be fully my masculine, right? Because hypothetically, if you made some money and we were to go on a date and you'd be like, oh, I'll pay for half of it or whatever, I'd be like, that's supposed to be my job. You know what I'm saying? Now you are not allowing me to be fully, you know what I'm saying, because you're a little bit masculine, and that's to a detriment, unfortunately. But that being said, you would just have to be very honest with yourself and find the answers of what that would look like for you. Because not everybody wants the same thing, but most people want the same categories of things, right? So if you want to provide and a protector, you have to be a lover, and you have to be able to make his life easier, and you have to be able to make him relax. Because here's the thing, I'm gonna be so honest.
Okay.
I'll be so honest.
We love honesty.
When a guy wakes up in the morning, whether he has a job or runs businesses or whatever, he leaves the apartment or the house or wherever he lives, and he battles the world, right? He makes shit happen. He drives 45 minutes to get to a place. He says fuck you to somebody that is not in congruence with the business or whatever. He does all these things. He comes back home from all these battles. At the end of the day, he comes back home. The last thing this man wants to do is battle his girlfriend / wife. You know what I'm saying? If the first thing that leaves a woman's mouth after the guy gets home is, can you do the dishes? Can you help me with the laundry? Can you do this? Can you do this? And I just came from work. You want me to work more? You know what I'm saying? Like, if you greet a guy that just comes home from work with a home-cooked meal, you're just like, oh, I cleaned the apartment, or hey, I did this, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, I did X to make your life easier, that man will never leave you. Because the thing is, like, good men are very rare, because it takes very honest truths and very honest mindsets to become, like, a quote-unquote high-value guy, right? But for a woman, it's really just mostly important to make the guy's life easier. If you do that, and if you're his peace of mind, if you're his shelter, his like, you know what I'm saying, like his home away from home, in terms of relaxation, that guy will never leave you. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Because at the end of the day, like, a man's value is forged. Therefore, when you see a high value guy, you know, okay, this guy worked for everything he has. A woman's value typically is based on her looks, right? And there's beautiful women everywhere, right? And that's the hole in the market, is women that are, you know, whether they're beautiful or not. Most women are very beautiful, you know what I'm saying? But because of that, the type of woman that does not typically exist is a woman that is peace for the man.
So you're basically saying that the way you carry yourself and take care of yourself is important, but what weighs more is if the woman provides peace for that man.
Exactly, yeah.
Versus if she's hot.
Exactly, yeah. That is way more valuable than being just hot. Because hot women are everywhere. You know what I'm saying? The high value guy that has millions of dollars, for example, can literally get any hot woman, because that hot woman is looking for that man, but that man is not looking for that woman. Because they're everywhere, right? At the upper echelons, every woman is beautiful, right? But with that being said, what's not common is a woman that provides peace and quiet for the man, makes his life easier. That's the hole in the market. If you become that as a woman, you will find that guy, because these guys are looking for you. That's how that works. we said that the universe is very giving.
Yeah.
That person that you're looking for is already on his way into your life.
Yeah.
And you're already on your way into his life. It's just a time that you meet that you don't know is the opportunity for you to become the best version to be able to support that relationship. Right?
Yeah. And that was my messaging behind it. Like, that's kind of what I was trying to say in a nutshell, is like, it's not about necessarily finding this person, but it's like being ready when that person comes and not sabotaging. I think something important to note is to be open and to allow, since it's hard to tell, like, is this man is a man of his word, it's hard to tell off just looking at the profile. So I feel like just as simple as a FaceTime. I think we had FaceTime before we even met, and it was like really short. So I think just being open and opening that dialogue, it doesn't have to be like a whole like face-to-face date, but giving people a chance. And like you can tell a lot by just a 10-minute call, I feel like.
Bro, literally,
like you can know in your intuition. So I think that's it. Just to, if this person doesn't necessarily look like your type, but you feel called to talk to this person, I think just talk to them, and it will naturally flow if that person is meant to have a conversation with you. So I think that's the main takeaway from that. But
that's very true, So one last thing I will say is
recording.
Don't be afraid to find a guy that you can build something with.
Oh, I like that.
The only reason that's important is because I believe the strongest relationships are the ones where like the guy and girl get together. The guy is a man of his word and the woman is ultra feminine, and it's a relationship where you agree to build something spectacular and not just meet each other at the finish line. This is a very big thing. Yeah. Because the thing is, like, when we met, like, we were basically living in like my 1-bedroom apartment. You know what I'm saying? With no office, basically a bathroom, roommates, and now we have a 4th floor, like 2-bedroom with 2 bathrooms. You know what I'm saying? Like,
we're leveling up always.
Yeah, exactly. If you look for a guy that's already past the finish line, you will get the treatment of a guy that had to get there himself, which is he will most likely cheat on you because he doesn't need you.
Damn.
He'll most likely want to talk to multiple people because he has options, right? But if you find a guy that you can build something with, and for the guy that's like, okay, I got to build this empire, right? And for the woman, it's like, okay, I can build this relationship. You know what I'm saying? Those are typically stronger relationships, and they typically result in monogamy because the guy, as he achieves things, like for me, and I can really only speak on like my experiences, knowing that I had a girlfriend at home that is waiting for me to like reach new heights and do things gives me an actual purpose. A guy that's literally single and just games and does fucking jack shit all day, he has no purpose. Aww. But like typically like women become the purpose for men, and that's not always a bad thing. That just means, okay, cool, I have something to aspire to, and knowing that you have something to aspire to, it opens up new avenues to explore greater heights. Like, remember when we went to that coffee place and we met one of my business partners? We would have never gone to that coffee place and met my business partner if we didn't have anything to like build, or if we didn't end up together. You know what I'm saying? Like, serendipitously as a guy, the woman helps multiply the things that he's building just through the feminine energy of, hey, I want to get a coffee, I feel silly and want to get some coffee. You know what I'm saying? Boom, you meet a business partner.
That's literally what happened to us.
That's literally what happened. So like, as a guy and as a girl, mostly funny. As a girl, be very accepting and willing to build something. And if you realize after like a few months of dating somebody that, okay, they're not trying to build anything, try and hop off. And that's typically, it comes down to an intuition kind of feeling. And that's awesome. But for the most part, like, if you build something with another person, that other person is very likely.
Well, thank you, Beebs, for coming on the podcast, but the channel, and that was really helpful. If you guys like this type of content, let us know. If you have any questions, let us know, because we're always down to film more. But yeah, that kind of wraps it up. So thank you.